Shalom and welcome back. This is going to be part 3 of my videos about the issues of the earth and creation. And in this section we're going to be covering certain parts of Genesis. This is going to be Genesis chapter 1. Here this is going to be verse 5. And then we're going to jump over from verse 5 to verse 6. And from verse 6 all the way down to verse 9. So the Torah tells us something here, and it says, Vihi erev vihi voker yom echad. Vihi means and it was. Erev, evening. Vihi, and it was. Voker, morning. Yom echad, which means one day. Now, the issue you have to understand, this is something important to understand. Why is it not the first day? And what is the difference? Why is it some Bibles will say one day, and majority of them, you won't ever see them really saying the first day. Some might, but if they do, this is grammatically incorrect. The word here, echad, it's, even though it's an adjective, it's not the way you numerically use first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. The Hebrew word for that is the word Rishon. Rishon. Okay, Rishon is the word for first in Hebrew. So I would say Rishon, Sheni, Shlishi, Revi, Chamishi, Shishi, Shivi, Shmini, Tishi, and then Isri, which would be 10. And that is how you would say the first. So by it saying one day, it refers to the fact that this event that happened here happened not in the sequence of what we find written later, which is telling us the fact that the sequence we find later is a completely separate event. It is not connected. Which brings us to the next part, that in the Torah it says Yihi, and let it be a rakia. A rakia is an expanse, space. The rakia, people, they think it word has to do with hammering out, but it actually doesn't. You got to understand that everything, like I said, is based upon the root. If you look at the root rakah, resh kaf ayin, rakah means to make wide and spread out. Hebrew is not always very, at times, specific when reading things in the Bible, and what I mean by that is the fact of, like, sometimes Hebrew likes to use describing words that are meant to be a euphemism. A good example of this is the Torah says in Bamidbar that a woman is to have her head uncovered in the process of a suspected adulteress. And the word uncovered is not a literal word meaning to uncover the hair. The word para is the Hebrew word used there, and the word para is the root to make the root para means to freely move without restraint. And so it's a euphemism for the hair being uncovered, but it's not directly a word that means uncovered, like as if I was to use another word like gilah, which means to reveal or to uncover, or another word that could be used in Hebrew to express the idea of uncover. We have to understand Hebrew is very, it likes to use euphemisms and stuff. And so rakah, you can find rakah used as a euphemism where it says you shall take the gold, and the verb, it means to make flat upon the wood, to make it wide and flat upon it. It gives you an idea of hammering, if you think about it from a euphemism standpoint, that the gold is spread out and covers the wood to basically make some kind of, I can't think of the word to use it, but It's a way to cover the wood with gold. Okay, and so the word rakah, which means an expanse or wide or large spread out space, that's the meaning what rakia is. It's a large spread out space, and then the Torah says batuch, in the midst of the water. So the Torah says when the rakia was placed in the midst of the water, okay, this caused a catastrophic event. There was a judgment that was done. This is why the Torah wants us to know the time period of this is not connected to the next sequence of events. That's why when you find Yom HaShini is written for the time of the rakia, is not connected to Yom Echad. It's a separate time period now. Because when the rakia is made, this is the first thing that sets up the beginning of the earth being created at this point. And the rakia was put in the midst of the water. And the Bible says the water above and the water below, and in the midst is the rakia. And this is the second part where we find from the Torah that there is an actual Big Bang theory. And it's not even a theory, it's a belief, it's a truth, it's a fact. That there was an actual orchestrated Big Bang. And that orchestrated Big Bang actually shows to us something catastrophic happened before the earth was formed. And that, which even scientists can see there's something out there in the atmosphere which shares some kind of concept of something that happened, and that's where they think about the Big Bang Theory. But the Torah tells us this actually physically happened, that the earth was destroyed before it was created again. And this is what happened to the lower water. The lower water was completely destroyed, and we see this because the Torah says, Yikvu hamayim, let gather strongly together the water. So the water that was underneath the rakia was dispersed. And this is where we understand from the Torah that there is such thing as an actual Big Bang. That the earth was completely destroyed. The mine below was completely decimated, and and then God forced it to come together. God was a part, and after this magnificently massive judgment took place, the earth was forced to come together. The mine was gathered into one place, as the Torah says, V'hamayim mitachat, from underneath Hashemayim. So this is where we're getting the fact that underneath Hashemayim, this atmospheric space that the mind was separated by with the rakia, the Shemayim, which is the heaven, El unto Makom Echad, one place. And so we go from the second video I just did, where the earth is central, the earth has no movement, it's a fixed position in space, and the Big Bang, as we find from the Torah, was actually God's judgment that God placed upon the mind below,